Forgive me, I am going to keep talking about General Assembly, just for a minute. There was another important moment that I feel you need to know about. At every General Assembly, we give an award to recognize a person or group for their work on the cutting edge of mission. This year, the Cutting Edge of Ministry Award went to the Parents Circle Families Forum, PCFF. It's a joint Israeli-Palestinian organization of over 600 families who have lost immediate family members to the ongoing conflict and who work together for reconciliation. There are two people who came to receive the award, Lila Sheikh and Robi Damelin, one Palestinian and one Israeli. Both had lost children due to the conflict. They told heartbreaking stories that left the room in silence. How do you forgive when your child is killed in the conflict? And what does reconciliation look like when we have inflicted such harm against each other? I'd like to share with you now a bit of their response to that question. For the sake of time, I can't show you the whole thing, just one story. But the whole video is available on the Presbyterian Church website.
So my name is Layla Sheikh. I am from Bethlehem, Palestine. I'm a Muslim Palestinian mother. I have 5 children. I was born and raised in Jordan. And after we have our 2 children, and after we think that life becomes so good and everything will be okay, that happiness was ended 11th of April 2002, 4 o'clock in the morning, when my son, at that time he becomes 6 months old, woke up in very critical condition because at that night the Israeli soldiers came to our village and they threw tear gas, and because he was too young, his lungs couldn't hold that. So we tried to take him to a hospital inside Bethlehem because we live in a village, but the Israeli soldiers prevented us and they said it's a military zone, you can't enter. So the last chance was to take him to Hebron, but we should take a rough and long road between villages. But for the 3rd time, they stopped us more than 4 hours. And when we finally get to the hospital, the doctor said it's too late to save his life. At the end of that day, he died. Everything was changed from that day. I was filled with hatred, anger against all the Israelis, because for me, all of them responsible about his death. So time goes, and after 16 years, I met one of my friends who participated in one of programs in the Parents Circle. And in the beginning, I wasn't really so convinced about that. But one day he invited me to a conference in Bethlehem for the Parents Circle. And it was the first time I heard the Israelis spoke about their personal stories and how they lost their beloved ones. And I was really touched and moved, because for me as Palestinian, I saw just settlers or soldiers. But to meet other women who lost their beloved ones, that was the first time. But before 4 months in Jerusalem, life gave me a new test. We've been in Jerusalem, and there's a big conference for all other organizations. So after me and Robbie spoke about our stories, there's a man who stand up and who started to talk about his story. I know that man before, but I didn't heard his story before. And he mentioned that he served in the army in my area. And he mentioned that he prevented a Palestinian car which have sick children from going to the hospital. And then it's become so hard for me. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't do anything. Like a storm happened in my head. I didn't know what to think even. Then he started to mention that his son becomes so sick, and when he tried to take him to a hospital, the guard stopped him because he wanted to ask him many questions. And he said, then I realized what I did to the Palestinian. From that day, he quit from the army. He was a high officer. He established a new organization. He started to work with ex-Palestinian fighters to start to end this occupation. And then I looked to him and I said, look, this is so hard for me to hear that, because in my whole life I didn't think I will be in front of one of you. But at the same time, I want to thank you, because if I know that part of your story was exist and you didn't tell me, I will never forgive you about that. But because you've been so honest and you have that courage to tell me the truth, I will forgive you. And he became one of my best friends now. And this is the real reconciliation. And this is when I really believe that I meant every word I say, I meant everything I did. And this has given me much more power to continue, because we can't lose hope even in this dark time in Palestine and Israel. So because of that, we continue this work. And because of that, I'm here today sharing with you my story. Thank you so much for listening.
What a powerful witness of faith from women with very different faith traditions. Reconciliation takes such vulnerability and graciousness. Not easy work, but it is how we will bring peace to the world.